Hi, I'm Mitra Sorrells in the PhocusWire studio at Phocuswright Europe, and I am joined by Maksim Izmaylov, the CEO of Winding Tree, which is a blockchain-based travel distribution platform. Did I get that right?
That's correct, yes.
In a few words, that's what it is. So I know I heard you say when you were on stage, obviously blockchain is a very complex topic, not the kind of thing that can be easily explained in the 10 minutes or so that we have. But maybe if you can start by just telling me, why is a blockchain-based travel distribution platform better than what we have now?
Right. So in order to explain that, I would just like to note that it's not, those benefits are not specific to the travel distribution, right? Really, for the first time in human history, we have the ability to create computer systems that are not owned by a single party. And that's a major breakthrough. You know, again, Bitcoin is an example of one of those systems. It's a revolution, right? And it will definitely create a lot of opportunities for a lot of people, but also will create problems for existing systems. It is challenging the existing systems. So in that regard, you know, I like to explain what Winding Tree is doing, and I give the Bitcoin example, right? So if Bitcoin is a currency that is no longer controlled by a government, let's say, right? Then Winding Tree is a distribution platform that is not controlled by one single party. And there are certain problems that related to centralized designs, and there's a number of those.
Okay. I don't know if you happen to be in some of the other sessions, but I heard Fritz Demopoulos, the founder of Queens Road Capital, characterized blockchain as hype in the making.
Right.
So I assume you don't agree with that. Why? Tell me more about why that might be wrong.
Well, that's a very interesting position. I don't know if you know, those statements from naysayers are going to age well, right? Because it doesn't matter if you're right, if you're a naysayer, but if you're wrong, well, it's going to get back at you. We don't know if blockchain will solve all the problems in the world, right? We don't know that. But is it a feasible potential solution to many of those problems? I think so. Do we know 100% that it's the solution to all those problems? No, definitely the technology will change. All those things are going to change. But we have to try. That's how innovation works, right? Innovation works precisely in that way, that there is no one guy that tells everyone what to do and, you know, this is right and that is wrong. No. Are we going to listen to those naysayers? No, of course. Our motto is permissionless innovation, and that's what we want to enable in the travel industry as well.
Okay, so I have heard it described in very simplistic terms, comparing it to sort of the internet.
Right.
That what you're creating, you know, I don't necessarily understand how the internet works, but I certainly use it every day. Right. So is it that same model then potentially with blockchain, that if everything really kind of starts to come to fruition, it's back there doing its thing, and then on top of it we will have different interfaces, different apps, that sort of thing?
Right, so internet basically decentralized sending data back and forth, right? And the example that I give all the time is, I don't know, 30 years ago, in order for you to make a phone call, that is, exchange your voice communication with someone else, you didn't have a choice. You only had one company, probably your phone provider at wherever you live at. But today, you can use multiple different apps, but the underlying infrastructure is the same all the time. That's the internet, that's the protocols, that's the servers that the internet operates upon, right? So that layer got decentralized. Now, Bitcoin and blockchain, first of all, the currency is now decentralized. We can exchange not just data, but value, right? The difference between the internet and the blockchain is that whenever I send you, I don't know, a few bytes on the internet, I really send you a copy of those bytes, right? Whenever you send value on the Bitcoin blockchain, it's not a copy. Now we have a proof that indeed I sent you one Bitcoin or Ether or any other cryptocurrency, and I no longer have it. And that's the problem that we call double spend, that got solved because of that. And that is a major breakthrough. And of course, there is a further decentralization of data exchange, right? So now you can create a system where we can exchange data without the fear that there is one company that will be able to read the data, control it somehow, maybe do some crazy things with that data.
So I had come across an article, I think from February, maybe around the time of your token sale, that mentioned that you have about 150 applicants that have expressed an interest in plugging into your platform,
a lot more
creating
now, yeah.
some apps. Okay, so tell us a little bit about that and where does that stand?
Right. So right now we're working on the APIs on the core platform. That hasn't been done yet. This summer we're planning to launch a demo with Nordic Choice Hotels where we're going to have live transactions on the Ethereum blockchain. And right now, I mean, we get those applications all the time. I receive, and our whole team receives all those emails all the time. We cannot do anything with those companies for now, but we will be able to do that within a few months. And again, depending on what kind of company it is, we're concentrating on the hotel industry first. Of course, we have a lot of interest in the airline industry, and we're working with our partners, Lufthansa and Air New Zealand. We're doing workshops with them to learn what their needs are to work with them. Our mode is collaboration. Mode and motto is collaboration, right? And again, depending on whether you're a car rental or maybe some other type of company, it will be a few months before we can start providing any value to those companies.
So this partnership with Nordic Choice, then, let's talk a little bit more about that, because I had spoken with them. So the way I understand it, are you still at a point of just doing the test with that one hotel as a hobo hotel?
We did it on the test net, and that went very well. As you know, of course, all the blockchains, they have the problem of scalability, so we're working around all those problems that has to be solved. For now, this summer, the test will be on the mainnet, but it will be live transactions, like real transactions. You as a customer could potentially buy a room at one of those hotels in Stockholm and pay, well, you probably will pay with your credit card, but the underlying transaction, the platform through which that transaction is going to go through is the blockchain platform that we're creating.
So would I, if I'm that consumer booking that room, would I know any of that? Or to me, is it just booking a room with my credit card?
It's to you, yeah, it's just that. I mean, whenever you make a call on WhatsApp, are you aware all the time, oh, this call is going through the internet? Absolutely not, right? You don't care about it. For you, it's WhatsApp.
So it's primarily then just changing the way they are managing that on the back end and processing that reservation.
Correct. Consumers, of course, will see the benefits, not today, not tomorrow, in a year, a couple of years.
So, well, then let's talk about that. I mean, what does success look like to you then for Winding Tree? You know, you're kind of like a startup right now. You're still really building. What does success look like in the future?
Again, obviously this is an uphill battle. This is a very complicated and long project. So we're operating with timelines of 5 years or maybe 10 years. So in 5-10 years, our goal is to have a few airlines, a few major hotel chains transacting on our platform, maybe even exclusively on our platform. And the dream that I have in my mind is that in 5 years' time, or maybe less, hopefully less, in 5 years' time, if you want to create a new airline, or if you want to start a new hotel chain, or maybe any other type of company that would serve consumers, and you would be choosing different platforms that you have available, and perhaps current GDSs and OTAs will be providing some of that infrastructure. But then you would also have Winding Tree, right? And that dream, to me, is for the majority of those new companies to go for Winding Tree, because it will be the Linux of travel, right? It's open source. It's funded by a nonprofit or maybe by the membership organizations that participate in that platform. And you wouldn't want to buy Windows or any other operating system because it's just so much faster, so much easier. So much easier also in the sense of your developers to work with that platform. So that's our goal.
So you have the partnership right now with Nordic Choice. That's kind of an active partnership, it sounds like. Then you're working with the Lufthansa group, correct? Any other partners, in the pipeline, or are you kind of going to focus on what you have right there, right now?
We do have quite a few new partners in the pipeline, and we announced a few in the few past weeks, and of course new partners are coming. Our goal here is to create a vibrant ecosystem of players. Again, we're a nonprofit, right? And our motto is collaboration. We want all those stakeholders to be able to talk to each other and to us as well about what they need in terms of the infrastructure that needs to be built, what kind of features they want to see.
So, you've mentioned a few times you are a nonprofit. You did have an initial coin offering in February, sold 25 million?
15
million LIF tokens. So help me understand, where did that money or the payment for those go, and who is it that owns those now primarily?
So we have, so we did the initial coin offering, and indeed we actually generated 25 million LIF tokens, but we raised about $15 million. That now the foundation, the nonprofit foundation that is based in Switzerland, controls. And that foundation, which consists, the council of that foundation consists of a few prominent travel industry veterans and a few founders of the Wine Industry Foundation. And we will be funding all sorts of different efforts, internal, maybe even external, if we have enough money. If Ether and Bitcoin price goes up, we'll see. In order to create that ecosystem, in order to bring partners for them to talk, to create a forum for them to participate in, and to create those technological, of course, infrastructure solutions so they can collaborate and communicate with each other. And in terms of the LIF token, we have about 5,000 backers that gave us money. So why did we do that? And I had that question asked a few times. We did it because we didn't want to raise money from investors. Why? Because we don't want anyone to own this platform, right? Bitcoin is not owned by anyone. It's completely distributed, and we didn't want to make a mistake that some other companies have done. They go to funds, and now those funds own 20, 30, 50% of those companies. Well, they're not truly decentralized. Now someone owns them. Now someone can tell them what they can and cannot do. There's no entity in our ecosystem that can do that to us, right?
So as we wrap up here, I guess I would ask, if I happen to see you here then at Phocuswright Europe next year, what might I be hearing from you about Winding Tree and what's happening?
Right, definitely new partners, live transactions in the hotel industry, in the airline industry as well. We're working very hard to make that happen.
That's where we'll be. Okay, we'll see. We've got it on tape.
Okay, it's documented now. It's official.
All right, Maksim, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it, and thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.